I'm having trouble, Crystal, so I'm not gonna mess up your files. I think I was about to erase something.
Oh, awesome.
That's okay at this point if they haven't downloaded it.
No, I haven't even downloaded it. That's the problem.
Oh, right. No worries. No worries. Your background is awesome as is.
Thank you.
You've got a superhero kitty in the background.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. That's
yeah, he'll be around. He's got my back.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Crystal, some of our students are logging in. I was just going to check in with them if that's okay with you all. All right. Eddie, I see you. Can you hit your camera so I can make sure that you're working? There you are. Awesome. Thank you, Eddie. Eddie, if you see anyone else, just let me know. Put it in the chat or just hop on and let us know.
Yeah, I'm talking to him right now. I know Oscar's having a little trouble, but I'm gonna try to help him out right now. Is it okay if I turn my camera off right now?
Yes, that's
Okay.
totally.
Got it.
Thank you. All right.
All right. So, Kalinda et al., it looks like the interpreters actually are not scheduled to be here until 9 a.m. because oh, you're here.
Yeah.
Good.
I see one.
Hello. Okay, beautiful. Because I just checked the schedule and it said that you weren't here until 9, and I was panicking a little. So I'm so glad you're here early. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So we will highlight you.
Oh, they're both here, Kalinda. Maria Vasquez Lowe is the other interpreter.
No, she's not. She's a deaf professor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, fine. So I assumed that was her.
And she said, that's okay, no big deal. It's all right.
Interpreters, if you would do us a favor, if you would message Kalinda or Wonder Woman just a few minutes before you switch, Wonder Woman will highlight the next interpreter for you. So we don't have a lag. Is that okay?
We will attempt it, but we're working hard.
Oh, of course.
I can't interpret and type at the same time.
Sure. I was thinking more that if the interpreter who is not interpreting knows that they're going to go on, maybe they could just give us a quick heads up.
Okay. We will try. Hopefully we'll have time to talk about it, but
Okay, great.
absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
If they just put interpreter next to their name, then at least that will be easier for her to see that.
And how do I do that? How do I change my name in here?
So there should be 3 dots in your box. For your picture, there should be 3 dots in the corner, top right corner. If you
Thank you.
there, you can rename yourself.
Great. Okay. Oh, I'm getting it.
Okay, so Courtney already has done it.
Okay.
Are you
Good
able to-
morning, everyone.
Pardon?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am good. I am
Good.
good.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, not a problem. Everyone, good morning. I wanted to be here. I won't be able to join you for the actual program, but as I told Crystal, I wanted to take some time before I have to transfer on to the President's Council meeting that usually regularly meets during this time every year. But I wanted to at least be able to wish you all a good morning and to thank you all for being here and for your spending your day with the Student Success Conference, your commitment to our students, and also in terms of how we all have come together during this remote learning environment that we now find ourselves. Hard for me to realize that we are now entering close to a full year. So just next month, this is our 11th month in this remote learning environment. And so no small task. We have the vaccines, we have the therapeutics that are making on it, but we also know that unfortunately, while we see the light at the end of the tunnel, there will still be some things that we will need to overcome before we are able to fully re-engage. And I know that many of our faculty and many of our staff have also already begun the conversations with your vice presidents and your deans about the re-engagement grid that the district has developed. That is not everything is not set in stone in there. It is simply a roadmap. And that is, again, why we are beginning to have those discussions with the campus community now in terms of how to make that re-engagement grid really work for us as a campus in addressing the concerns and the needs of you, our faculty, our staff, and also, and again, most importantly, our students. But with that, I just have no formally prepared remarks. I just want to have an opportunity to say hello to you all, to see your faces. Those of you who are early enough to adventurous enough to go ahead and turn on your cameras, I welcome that, but I also respect those of you who may not have had your full amount of coffee yet and are not quite ready to turn on your cameras. That's okay, no pressure, but I just want to make sure and welcome you all, give you all an opportunity, and to also give me an opportunity to ask you all how you're doing, and for us to check in and to have the next few minutes until I have to log off at 9 and the formal program begins, to just check in with one another and to give an opportunity for us to hear about the great things that folks are doing. I look forward to, and I assume that this the morning session will be recorded, so I look forward to actually, after President's Council, maybe sometime this weekend or sometime next week, tuning back in to actually see our student panel, because that is also one of the things that I miss being now in this remote environment. I miss the walks I would do across campus along the mall, checking in with our students, being able to participate firsthand in ASO meetings. I've tried to go ahead and beam into several of them, zoom into them. But again, I know, as many of you know, it's very different than just being on campus. But That's something that we have to look forward to, hopefully now, not in the distant future, but in the near future, as soon as we are able. But know that I appreciate you all, I thank you all, and I want to make sure that you all realize the importance of the work that you continue to do and your commitment and the fact that you are here spending your Friday focused on student success and preparing for next week and for the start of classes on Monday. But with that, again, I'll turn it over so that folks, please feel free to jump in. Let me know how you're doing, if you and let me know if there are any major concerns that you have, and I will make sure and hopefully be able to work with our different constituency group leaders and all of our campus leadership in terms of making sure that we address as many of those as possible. But most importantly, just checking in with you all and wanting to make sure that you all have a great morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If anybody has any questions, please let us know. You can raise your hand and I will ask you to unmute. All right,
Hi,
well,
this is Maria.
Yeah, hello.
I have a question. I'm wondering if we are required to get the vaccines before we return to class in the fall.
That is something that our Office of General Counsel is looking into. At this time, no. There, the belief right now is that there is no way that we can fully require, whether it be faculty, staff, or students, to have a vaccine and to set some that type of requirement. But those are things that we are looking into, and those are also things that I'm sure will be in discussions as we look further into the re-engagement grid and engage all of our different campus constituencies. But at this time, the sentiment is that no, that is not something that we can do, but it is something that we are continuing to look into and seek general counsel, legal, and also federal, state, and health guidelines pertaining to that.
There's also a question in the chat. Is there pressure on the district or college to open for live classes like there is for LAUSD?
I think, of course, there is, and some of it, it's not external pressure. I think for us, it's internal pressure. It's that we all know that at some point we need to offer, and I think that's also where we continue to try and learn as much from this situation as we can. What we've realized is we do have several students who are thriving and are, responding well to the remote learning environment. But what we also cannot ignore is that there are students who are not, that there are students who we've already lost and perhaps are not even registering at all because of the fact that we are in a predominantly remote environment. And that's something that we need to make sure that we are mindful of as we come back online. We will not be going back to our old normal. That is sort of something that I have been sharing with folks constantly. We will be crafting a new normal as we re-engage, and that will be taking in some of the lessons that we've learned of how do we make sure that we are addressing all of our student populations and not simply, and I used this term yesterday because yesterday I was speaking to the Emeritus Professors Organization, and the example I used to them is that there are some institutions, and I allude more to my experience at Elite, even in an Ivy League institution, who can sort of have a little bit more liberty in that term creaming, that if the top percentage of the folks are in a particular way, they can adapt their environment so that because they have that option. As community colleges, we need to make sure that we are serving all of our students and all our entire community. So we can't simply say that, oh, well, if the remote environment is working for X amount of our population, that's fine. We'll just focus on them. And, oh, well, the other, the other percentage, we'll just have to find somewhere else. We are that somewhere else. So we have to make sure that as we re-engage, we are making sure that we aren't simply taking the easy route And that simply being whatever is most comfortable or whatever we have adapted to. We have to make sure that we are so, but to answer your question, I think that there is no media pressure, unlike what we are seeing, the CDC is not coming down with guidelines that are saying that we need to go ahead and also reopen, but those are things that we are definitely attuned to and trying to also glean as much from what's going on with our LAUSD and K through 12 colleagues in terms of how we then proceed with our re-engagement plan to move forward.
I also have one more question in the chat. Why are face-to-face classes not opening for lecture courses in the fall? I like to return to face-to-face teaching.
We have not made that decision yet. And that is something that it has not been a formal decision that has been made on that, partly because we, again, want to make sure that we're fully assessing the situation and that we are also making sure that we are having the appropriate conversations with all of our governance and constituency groups. But know that we understand that a decision on fall is one that you all are anxiously awaiting. It's one that we are hoping to be able to make as soon as we can, but we also don't want to rush into making a decision into fall. Right now, we are planning as if we are going to continue offering things primarily remote. And at the time where we are able to make such a decision, that is also why we have asked, and as part of the re-engagement grid, have the conversations now about what courses would we begin, because it won't be a light switch where we suddenly make the decision and we just say, oh, for fall, everything that's available to the, we will end up, and part of the process will be, this will be a phased approach. And what we are trying to do now is have you all engage in conversations at the department chair level, at the dean level, at the academic affairs level, and even within student services in terms of what are the most essential services and the most essential courses that would need to come on immediately as soon as we're able to do that more broadly. Even this spring, just as we did in the fall, we are offering a very limited number of essential infrastructure courses. And so we will continue to do that. We will continue to plan for that in the fall as well. But again, in terms of a more broader sense of courses to be able to be offered face-to-face, we have not made a formal decision on that at this point.
I think we have time for just one more question. Karen Burns, you'll see your hand is raised. Karen, did you want to mute yourself to ask your question?
No, that was my question originally. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Well, I want to thank you all. And again, it's sort of my intent today was to wish you a good morning, my apology, and to offer my apologies that I won't be able to be there live with you today. But again, know that I will be checking into the Vision Resource Center probably this weekend or sometime later this week to catch up on all of the great things that are going on. As I have to head off to President's Council meeting, I just want to make sure that I took the time to wish you all a good morning, let you know how much I, as your college president, appreciate the work and your continued commitment to our students, and wish you all a great morning and a great set of events today. Have a great weekend, get some rest, because I know that Monday, it will be the start of a new academic term and our students are eager. And so I thank you all. Get some rest this weekend, and I will see you on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. And so thank you to the president for stopping by and talking with us. That's actually the first time we've ever had a president address us at the Student Success Conference because the Student Success Conference conflicts with a district meeting. So one of the advantages to this online format is we can actually have the president come and join us a little bit. So we'll get started on the main program in just a few minutes. We're going to let people who are going to log in right at 9 log in. In the meantime, just a couple of points. If your video is not on, we're going to hide non-video participants. So if you're a presenter, just do turn your video on. Otherwise, please shut that video off so that we can see the panelists. And then also, we are going to unhighlight the interpreters so that we can see the panel. So if you are a participant who would like to follow along with the interpreters, please pin them so that you are able to see them. Any questions? Okay, so one question is, how do I pin? So if you go over to the interpreter and there's three, or any person, if you look at their image, their camera image, just click those little three dots in the upper corner and a drop-down menu should appear, and then you can hit pin. Denise wanted to pin me to see my costume. Yes, thank you. Yes, so you can go to those three dots and you can pin that way. So Maria, if you go to the interpreter's picture, the video, there should be three dots in the upper right corner of the screen. If you click those three dots, there's a pin option there. Here, let me see what happens when I pin. We have about 2 minutes before we start, so we'll go ahead and experiment a little bit.
It seems that maybe if we're host and co-host, we're the only one that can pin. So maybe we need
Yeah, normally we can pin on these meetings, but I think there's a setting, it must have been disabled.
Huh.
Brian?
It's open now. I can pin.
Oh, okay, good. Batman took care of that, I think.
Thanks, Batman.
Thank you, Batman.
Any other? Beautiful. Okay, great. Okay. Any other questions or concerns about how this is going to function before we begin? Okay, just, and we'll start in a minute. So just 2 more points. We are recording today, so just keep that in mind. So if your video is on right now, you're getting recorded and you're also getting streamed on YouTube Live. So if you are not presenting, just do me a favor and if you can just shut down your camera so we can see the folks who are presenting, because otherwise on these giant rooms, it just becomes really crowded. We would appreciate that. And when you're presenting, go ahead and turn your camera back on. And as soon as we fill up, we'll go ahead and release the YouTube link so folks can continue to look at us through YouTube. All right, wonderful. Okay, so with no further ado, it is 9:02 a.m. So welcome to the Official Student Success Conference today. And Batman has a video for us to start us off. So take it away, Batman.
Greetings, Justice League. I have seen the bat signal. The educators of America need our help. We must show them how to navigate through the 2021 Student Success Conference online Now, listen up and pay attention, as we have a very dangerous mission ahead of us. Okay, Justice League. Here is our Google site, our homepage, where everything we need for the day begins. First, I hope you've all pre-registered in the Vision Resource Center. Next, I hope you all joined our morning convocation by clicking Join the Convocation. This program lasts approximately 55 minutes. At the end of this time, you will access this page in your own browser, and you will choose one of these 8 breakouts to attend for 15 minutes. At the end of those 15 minutes, you will end your Zoom and join a new Zoom of these 7 that will be remaining. At the end of that 15 minutes, you will choose yet another adventure and join that Zoom. At the end of that, you will take a bio break and join immediately for the 10:50 breakout session. We hope that you have pre-registered for any of the day's activities. You only need to pre-register for the morning convocation and the 2 Session A and Session B breakouts. If you feel like you have missed anything from the Student Success Fair, you may click on the In Case You Missed Them Resources link, where you will find literature and information to all the services presented during the Student Success Fair. From 10:50 to 11:55, you will attend one of these breakouts, featuring many of my colleagues and friends. At 12:10, you will attend any of these 7 breakouts. At the end of the day, you may have a department meeting scheduled. If so, click on department meeting to find out when and attend those on the Zoom platform by joining the meeting. To learn more about any of the breakouts, click on breakout. To learn about today's schedule and overview, click on schedule. If at any time throughout the program you are lost, simply go to the home page and join the morning convocation, where one of my associates will be waiting to answer all of your questions. The time for student success is now. Good luck, Justice League.
I love you, Brian.
Awesome.
Good job.
So thank you so much, Brian. Now we'd like to introduce Donna May, who will welcome us to our conference this morning.
Thank you. First, thank you for inviting me to speak at today's Student Success Conference. Today is a day about students. It is a day we educators get to focus on what we love, our passion to see our students succeed. Not budget woes, not enrollment numbers, not program planning. It's about our students. This year is particularly unique because we and our students are experiencing and engaging in a learning environment like no other. We are still learning how to navigate it and move forward safely in it. I read somewhere that babies learn to walk earlier in life if they get lots of practice with assisted walking, taking steps forward while someone holds their hands. We are all going through so much right now, and learning requires safety. Safety requires kindness, and kindness is hard when we are hurting and when we're separate. So today, let's think about strategies of how we can rise above the chaos and be a hero for ourselves and for the students who come to us, learning how to navigate, for many of them, this strange new world made even stranger because it's 2021. Finally, today's theme, superheroes, is well chosen because for our students, that is the role we serve. We are more than the sage on the stage, the guide on the side, or the meddler in the middle. In many ways, we are the superhero that opens their eyes, engages their curiosity, meets them where they are. Today is about equity and culturally responsive teaching and learning. We are Beast Boy, transforming their worldviews. Raven, the empath, and Nightwing, a role model of the superhero who learned under the wing of a mentor and then became a leader himself. Let's think of how we can meet students where they are. How can we see ourselves, our colleagues, and our students through an appreciative, strength-based lens so they succeed and they can run bravely and confidently, unassisted, into this truly new world? Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that welcome, Donna Mae. So hi, everybody. I'm Shira. And on behalf of all of the Princesses of Power and on behalf of all of Etheria, I wanted to welcome you to the 2020 Student Success Conference at Pierce College. You may know me by my mortal name. My mortal name is Crystal Kiekel. I'm the Center for Academic Success Director. The Tutoring Center is alive and well. Please send your students to us. We're waiting to receive them. And I'm also the co-chair of the Student Success Committee, along with Dr. Kalinda McLean. And that's the committee that's hosted this lovely event for the past 15 years. I wanted to start by thanking you, superheroes, for showing up throughout 2020 and then showing up today to sustain our beautiful community and to help become stronger educators together. We have made it this far, and our students have made it this far, and we are still here. We're still learning and growing and building from chaos, and that just makes me so proud to be a part of this community. I wanted to thank Alexis and Brian and Donna Mae for presenting, and our entire planning team for supporting this, because they have worked so hard to make this event go online. So please feel free to give them some love in the chat. They really deserve it. And finally, I would like to thank Lila Snow's grandson, who is joining us today as Spider-Man to keep us safe. So thank you so much, my friend. We really appreciate all the security you provide for us. Okay, so today is a Choose Your Own Adventure Day, and that's going to be all starting with that Google site. So I'm putting the link to the Google site in the chat again, because we will absolutely need it. So we're going to start right here in this room where we're going to have our annual student panel, which is coming next. And then you'll go back to that Google site to access the Student Success Fair, right? That's where you can learn about up to 6 heroic student success programs in 45 minutes. Again, the way it works is that there's 2 programs for each room, and you'll pick one of the rooms that's on the list on the Google site. Click the Zoom link for that room. And then in that room, you'll learn about those programs for 15 minutes. And then you'll go back to the Google site and you'll select a different room. And then you'll learn about a different 2 programs for another 15 minutes. And you can do that up to 3 times to learn about 6 programs. And again, all those Zoom links are all on the Google site. Then we're going to attend a couple of breakouts. The descriptions and the links are, you guessed it, on the Google site. And then afterwards, we'll attend our department meetings, and many of those links are, well, on the Google site. So in case you need that Google site, I'm going to post it one more time. And we will be here in this room all day if you have questions. So come on back anytime. Now it is with great pleasure that I introduce our annual student panel. So each year, if you're new, each year we host a panel of students that help us explore a different theme. And this year, we're going to explore the superpower strengths that help keep our students thriving in this chaos. So with all of the barriers to learning right now, what is keeping our students zooming towards success? So this year, Yepram Davudian, Chair of Communications, will be moderating, which thrills me to no end. Thank you, Yepram. And so with no further ado, and of course, by the power of Grayskull, I'd like to introduce Professor Yepram Davudian. Take it away.
I'm sorry. Just quick thing, Yepram, sorry, before you start, I just have a quick housekeeping item, and that's just for our panelists and also for you, Yepram, if we would be so kind as to just periodically pause so our ASL interpreters can keep up with what we are saying. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much. And I'll do my best to slow it down. So I am actually in costume. I just can't find a phone booth to change into my Superman costume. So I will take off my glasses and we'll rock and roll. But it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you all very much. It's an honor to be working with 4 amazing students and their experiences regarding the classroom, this learning environment, what they have done to overcome some of these obstacles, but just the intriguing stories and experiences that they have to share with us will sort of open our eyes as faculty and staff members here on campus, because as educators, we also have to learn how to listen. And this is an opportunity for us to sort of take in what they've done. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce our panelists just quickly. We have Eddie Hernandez, who will be transferring to CSUN and majoring in psychology and sociology. We also have Rachel, who will be also transferring to CSUN, and she is looking to major into English and convincing her in a borderline that she might do maybe communication studies as a minor. Wink, wink. We have Oscar Rivera, who is planning on transferring to either UPenn, UCLA, or UCI as a nursing major. So we need more of our first responders like you, Oscar, and we look forward to listening to you today. And last but not least, we have Jamisha Taylor, who is looking to either transfer to UCLA, Xavier, and she is going to be studying biopsychology. So they are all here. They're ready to go, and truly you all are our superheroes, and thank you for taking time and working on this with us. So we're gonna jump into these questions, and I'm gonna start off with Eddie. I think I'm gonna address this question to you first. Can you tell us about an obstacle or challenge that you faced in an online environment, and tell us what the strategies or resources have used to address these challenges? And I'm gonna actually stop there. I'm gonna actually go to Jamisha first, and my apologies. So Jamisha, I'm gonna start off with you.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Yeprem, and thank you everyone who is in attendance. It's an honor to be able to speak on behalf of students like myself. So to address your question, I've actually struggled with my bedroom becoming my campus. My room took on the role of classroom, center for academic success, library, and all of the other campus resources which I frequented. In my room, it became much more of a challenge maintaining focus for both lectures and studying. On campus, I benefited from the change in location between class and self-study, as it broke up the time spent sitting in one place for too long and provided much needed stimulation to complement the studying set out before me. When attending classes in person, I usually left a lighter load to take home to work on to be completed to limit the time that my mind must associate home with work. Over time, after the transition to online, I began utilizing different areas of my home to attend lectures and to study, respectively. Changing things up from time to time helped mimic the flow of campus, and I didn't feel like I was as much in a vacuum of time. I've also arranged my room so that there's a clear division between lounge and work. This divide helps me organize my mental space. I'm not constantly reminded that I'm in my bedroom, as I'm no longer working directly next to where I sleep. My back is now turned away from my bed, and I'm no longer fighting temptations to jump back in it. I've also acquired supplies for outdoor studying to introduce another mock classroom, the park. This includes a small foldable lap desk, a power bank to charge my laptop and other devices, plus headphones or a speaker for music. I prefer Bluetooth because I'm not a fan of excess cords. I also have a padded floor chair for back support. For me, having this handful of potential learning settings with tools to match helps me to avoid burnout, because to me, too much time spent in one position or room can limit my productivity and focus. I'd recommend, if possible, for students to pick a designated spot in their home for specific tasks. For example, attend lectures in the dining room, office hours in the living room, and study in your bedroom, or as I sometimes enjoy, the park. And a little bit of personal feng shui goes a long way. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jamisha. That's definitely an interesting take in our environment and guess how we function and how we're optimal. So thank you. Great. Let's move on. Oscar, do you mind taking this question?
Hi, of course. First and foremost, I would like to thank all faculty members and staff for being present here today and joining us. As students, this really means a lot to us. Turning my room into a school setting was certainly not easy. With the changes I made to my bedroom, like buying a new IKEA desk to study, the motivation to review class material also emerged. Because I was at the comfort of my home, I oftentimes find that I would rarely focus on my classes I would normally would in a person-to-person setting. However, after doing some research, I came across the Pomodoro study method, which has ever since improved my ability to study in my house. This time management plan allows students to study for 40 consecutive minutes while taking interval breaks in between. Ever since I implemented this new strategy in my academic plan, I was able to stay on track throughout all of my courses. In addition, I also noticed that by virtually meeting with my classmates for group study sessions also aided me in achieving my goals. Although there were times where the internet connection wasn't too strong, I was still able to communicate efficiently with others about the questions I had in class. Virtually meeting with my professors in their office hours also helped me understand and clarified any doubts I had in class. Utilizing the Pomodoro study method, meeting with my class peers to study, and assisting office hours with my professors helped me to achieve my goals throughout this online transition. I hope that you were able to pick on some of my tools that helped me to stay motivated, but most importantly, to achieve my academic goals in college. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. I just learned something new too, so I appreciate you sharing. Rachel, let's go to you. Rachel, hit your unmute button.
Next interpreter.
My bad. Hi there. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this panel. I've always tuned in, but I've never actually been a panelist. And thank you, professors, faculty, and staff this morning for joining everyone. I'm going to just share a personal experience that I had, and maybe it's been very challenging for me, and I can speak up for a lot of students that are going through difficult times that I never imagined, and I'm sure nobody has in our world. Financially, I was challenged this past year and still now with food, rent, bills, and essential items. And physically, I have a disability because I had a medical condition I was dealing with. And so it really affected me. You know, I ended up in the hospital, and because I didn't have any income coming in, I didn't have any resources. I from the beginning, when everything shut down, I had no income coming in. It really made my life difficult because I've always been independent, and I've always said, well, I mean, I was going to school and stuff, and I was trying to finish, because I'm a returning student, and finish my requirements. And it was just technically also it was hard too, because I only had my iPhone. I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have I mean, I had a laptop, but it was not working properly, and I didn't have proper Wi-Fi. And I guess these are things that are essential to students. And I felt kind of uncomfortable because to ask anybody for help. Because I was going through this, and I kind of shut down myself because I felt depleted. One, I ended up in the hospital. I didn't even want to call the ambulance because I felt oh my God, how am I going to pay for all of this? Because that costs money. It's not free. I was lucky that because of the pandemic and everything that was going on, you know, they were able to take me because they were not taking any visitors or anything like that. And you had to be a COVID patient. And they were able to accept me, and I was there a week and a half or a week, something like that. And after that, I was released, but I was not in physical condition. So what ended up happening is I reached out to my professor. My professor was Dr. Cantrell from theater. I was taking a class. I was also taking English, but I ended up dropping it. and I missed like weeks because I was during the time that they shut down. And so with that, I mean, he helped us with all the materials. Like he was sending us Zooms, like so we could link, and I got the app. That's how I got help. And then I really liked the way he would send all of us, like we would have virtual meetings with him once I got the app on my phone. And I was basically using my iPhone to like do my class. And that really helped me. And then I reached out to the staff, Brahma Pantry, and I'm going to mention Darcy. She was wonderful. She connected me to a lot of resources. I also got connected with a wonderful person that she's here today, is Professor Lisa Valdez. She was wonderful. I mean, she even got me some books that I could borrow. Another thing that she really helped me connect with is Emoja, and I'm actually wearing the sweatshirt today. You guys have been wonderful. You've been human beings to me, and you've like really connected me to the resources, and all these people I've mentioned, they really, I mean, I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for them. I was able to get books. I was able to get information for SNAP. I was able to get so I can get like food so I could eat and nourish myself, because I needed that at the moment. I also was able to attain information for general relief, and then rental relief, because I was going to get evicted.
Wow.
That's another thing people don't think about. And I was also able to attain a laptop and an iPhone. So all of these things like really helped me like get back into gear and like be resilient and be patient, because it really required patience and
It did.
and just faith. I mean, and I'm very grateful to all my professors, Professor Yeprem, Professor Johnson. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry, but thank you.
You what? Thank you, Rachel. I think you've sort of shed light on what a lot of people are going through, but also the perseverance that our students such as yourself have, and it's appreciative. And I'm glad that we have folks on this campus, faculty who you just gave a shout out to, which is great. Appreciate it, that are taking their time and reaching out to students. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Eddie, you want to take this one more?
Of course. And first, I'd like to say good morning to everyone, and thank you everyone for coming. I'd like to start off by saying, as we all know, this is a very hard and very unique situation. I mean, we're living in a pandemic. On top of everything else going on inside all of our lives, we have to deal with this pandemic. There's no way to outrun this. With that being said, I know the transition to online learning hasn't been the easiest for everyone. People's strengths and weaknesses vary. Not everyone is on the same level to be able to access technology and be able to work it. I think one of the biggest obstacles I've had this semester with the transition, and the previous semester when everything switched to online, has been that of communication. I think communication is very important, but once again, I need to emphasize that maybe not everyone's level is on the same. So communication has especially been difficult with things like group work. I've had instances where we've been paired with other people and haven't been able to get through to them the whole semester. And that is worrying, because not only inside the classroom, outside the classroom as well, because you can't help but wonder if they're doing okay. I think a resource that really helped would definitely be Pronto. I'm actually aware that not everyone's familiar with that, but it's an extension off Canvas, and it has helped me greatly, because as opposed to messaging through email and Canvas, it has live messaging. So I guess the closest thing you can compare it to would be like iMessage. You'll be able to see when the message has been delivered, when the person on the other side is replying, and overall it's just a great help. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Eddie. We appreciate the feedback and all the information you gave. It's interesting. Yeah, Pronto's is one of the tools that are it's beneficial, and thanks for telling us how it's working for you. All right, let's move on to our next question, which addresses resources. So Oscar, I'm going to throw this at you. Which resources or student resources do you use a lot or even more now that you're online?
Okay, so as a prospective transfer student, I was really overwhelmed by the many due dates, assignments, and requests that I had to address before various deadlines. In addition to concentrating on my different courses last semesters, I had to set time aside not only to write college essays, but to fill out resumes and online applications that were sometimes very convoluted. I received an email from Los Angeles Pierce College Transfer Center, which read that they would be offering assistance to all students. This center provided me with guidance, direction, and most importantly, a sense of belonging, as its staff and members were really well trained to answer each and every one of my questions. I would like to thank Ruta, so shout out to Ruta, for always being supporting and leading towards me. This site was really easy to find as it's found on the main website of the college. If I could implement something to this, it would be definitely allocating more hours to this wonderful program. So in addition to this transfer center, when I was taking calculus last semester, I noticed that I had some questions about my homework. Being a full-time student while working part-time didn't allow my schedule to be so flexible throughout the day, but I noticed that the Pierce College offered a center of academic success where student tutors worked there, sometimes up to 8 p.m. This allowed me to ask all my questions even at late times. With the consistency of my active participation in these online environments, I was able to obtain the letter grade that I worked so for last semester. I enjoyed that the students' workers had a range of hours in their schedule and the system being fairly easy to navigate. Perhaps I would suggest in the future increasing more hours to these student workers if petitioned to benefit those parent or working students who cannot make it to the earlier sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. That's a great point. I know, yeah, you're right. In the virtual environment like this, we have our hours differ so much just because of the chaos in our lives and just a different scheduling. So that's important. Thank you for letting us know that. We'll take definitely that note of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So Rachel, I'm going to hop to you now, and we're going to switch up questions. Rachel, what are some things faculty have done to keep you engaged and help you feel supported online? What else could be done? And I know you addressed this a little bit, but I'm throwing it back to you. One more time. Go ahead and unmute one more time.
I was going to say thank you. I had a lot of help through like a lot of the posts, like virtual visits, like that some professors provided through YouTube. And I also was able to get like meetings, appointments with them on Connex Ed. I always get this wrong. Sometimes I was able to utilize that to make appointments with my professors, but sometimes I didn't have like I wasn't able to connect with the professor simply because that wasn't provided. That wasn't like part of it. So it was a little different for me because I'm coming from someone that always gone to my classes in person, and it was hard to adapt. So that was my challenge. But overall, like Canvas helped me a lot. And recently Eddie told me about Proto, I think, something like that it's called. I should get the app. But also I was able to use like a lot of the like resources that were out there, like, but technically I was able to get, like I said, like the laptop and the Wi-Fi, which was like, it was not a lot for students, and I was able to get that. So that really helped me. But as far as the resources, tutoring, I think could be better because it was hard for me to get, like for me, like personally, because of the hours, it was hard for me to get like an appointment. But I was able to get tutoring in another facility because I was taking, so if that could be tweaked a little bit, like hours, maybe that would help. But other than that, I think I did fairly well with what I had. Yeah.
Those are a lot of resources, and I think, yeah, and again, you know, we try to do as much as we can and provide resources, but limited. And thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Eddie, you want to take this one too?
Yeah, of course. And I'd like to thank Rachel. Rachel, thank you for some of the resources that you stated. I'm definitely going to be piggybacking off of that. So
Thank you.
if y'all can bear with me. I think faculty has done numerous amount of things that have helped me feel supported and engaged. I think one of the most notable things that they have done have been promoting resources. I know most, if not all, do this in the form of their syllabus as well. Whether it's things about like information about the sheriff, workshops, financial aid, veteran services, counseling, services for students with disabilities, and the list goes on. But these resources also extend outside of the classroom as well. I remember receiving several announcements and messages as well from my professors and educators that was promoting stuff like access to free laptops for students in need, the food pantry, free meals. And then I remember receiving a message about free college tuition for lower income families for schools like USC when the pandemic first started. And those things were very notable to me because I thought to myself, where else would I hear this information from? And the answer was nowhere. I'd be receiving it only from them. I'm also part of the student transfer Canvas shell because I'm close to transferring. And it was something that they did that I really liked was remind us of deadlines, because it's so easy to get caught up in everything going on in our lives, both inside the classroom and outside. So thank you for that. I also noticed that educators promoted office hours and encouraged office hours, and paying attention to their students is very important as well. Usually I'm pretty vocal in my class. I'm always participating. I'm a pretty social person, but there's been a few times where, you know, life happens and I'm not participating. And there's been times where professors have messaged me asking if everything's okay inside the classroom and outside the classroom. And it may seem like something simple, but it makes a difference. It really does, because it lets the students know that you're paying attention, that they're acknowledged. And I think that's something that's very important.
I think Ed, thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it. I think you made a really good point where, you know, we talk about presence in the classroom, not only for students being present, but, you know, the presence of a faculty member. So that's an important point, really important point. Thank you. Great. Jamisha, I'm going to roll over to you, please.
Thank you so much. And Eddie, you actually touched on something that I'm going to address as well. It's just professor presence in class. But for me, I've had faculty show up for their students in a variety of ways since we've been online. I've had the fortune to experience professors and other faculty go above and beyond in making sure we know we are supported. My professors over the last 3 semesters, excluding winter, have increased their office hours based on student need, provided their cell numbers for immediate contact, and even made research papers extra credit for their students during this time. A recurring event takes place in my calculus class. My calculus section meets for 2.5 hours per session, and my humanity leaves me guilty of the occasional drift in attention, going over the many rules of derivation after the first hour or so. My professor not only gives us an intermission at the halfway mark, but if he picks up on a dip in energy, he'll tell us a brief story about his time as a student to kind of refresh our attention. This small gesture goes a long way in building rapport, as our professor reminds us that he remembers how it felt sitting where we are. Granted, it's a little different now. It shows me that he's in this fight with us. And his stories give me a sort of mental reset to continue with the lecture. They also have come at a time where my mind is running at 100 miles per hour with full force, attacking a problem that had been stumping me. Sometimes he sees us ramming into this wall, and he'll swoop in, giving us a much needed timeout. I think because our professors are also experiencing their share of challenges, they are aware of some of the potential difficulties faced by their students. At the very least, my previous and present professors have always been willing to listen. Students are facing a multitude of challenges right now. I mean, some students have learning disabilities and other mental disorders that warrant very limited resources, and some students don't have a designated work area away from distractions, reliable Wi-Fi, or even the safety to attend classes at home. I believe that professors just need to keep an open mind and be patient with their students. As we continuously adapt to these unprecedented times, faculty must too continuously adapt to their student needs. Their students originally chose in-person classes for a reason, and it's incredibly commendable to continue at this time of unrest and uncertainty. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jamisha. Great point. Yes, we do have to keep up, and it's interesting what we realize when we hear your stories and your experiences, and definitely a key point. Thank you. All right, moving right along, our last question. Eddie, I'm gonna go back to you for this one. Can you think of an example of a time that an educator, like a faculty member, has presented content or materials to you that address inclusiveness and equity? And if so, please let us know.
Of course, thank you. And thank you, Jamisha. I like to start off this question by saying that I think it's important to acknowledge that the world is very split right now. And I mean, this makes inclusivity and equity that much more important. As we all know, Pierce is a very diverse campus. It comes with students that from a lot of different backgrounds, including age, gender, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, nationality, and so on. I think making an effort to learn students' preferred pronouns and promote a safe space is something that educators have done very nicely. As an educator, you can lead by example by doing something as simple as stating your own preferred pronouns in somewhere like Zoom or Canvas, now that everything's online, which might encourage others to participate as well. It doesn't take a lot of effort to make students feel much more comfortable while also maintaining a neutral stance that doesn't conflict with personal feelings and beliefs. This will also leave students feeling validated, acknowledged, and respected. Going the extra lap and doing something like this goes a long way, both directly and indirectly. Adding to this, I would like to share a story that one of my professors shared with me last semester that opened my eyes to a new perspective that addresses both inclusivity and equity. My professor, a white male, shared a conversation he had with a coworker in college where this coworker, a Black male, mentioned the idea of white privilege. My professor expressed that his initial response was to get defensive as he was raised in a household where a single mother was raising 6 children on welfare, so he knew about hardship and struggle. Upon hearing his coworker elaborate further, he understood what his coworker was trying to explain. His coworker shared his experience in the American education system as a person of color, where he stated that in all his years of his academic career, he never had a Black man as a teacher. He never felt like the education system was made for someone like him, someone with his skin color. He concluded that the idea of white privilege doesn't mean that you've not gone through hardship, struggle, or challenges. It simply means that the color of your skin isn't one of them. As a person of color and a minority, this story resonated with me and got me thinking about ways that I may be privileged without even realizing. In my case, this may come in the form of something like not having to worry about being followed to my car after leaving a late night class on campus because I'm a man. It is important for us to acknowledge the ways that we may be privileged so that we can provide the proper resources and guidance to those in less privileged situations in order to achieve this inclusivity and equity. It is also important for educators to acknowledge that everyone is different and different people might require different resources. As Jamisha said in the previous question, I think it's also essential that professors should accommodate to students' specific needs, and that this can come in with factors including religion, ethnicity, culture, and so on. I also believe that it is extremely important for professors to take a neutral stance on things while encouraging these things, because we look at educators, we look at teachers, we look at professors for the correct answers. And when they're one way or another way, not only does that leave us confused, but it doesn't let students form an opinion of their own. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. And one quick takeaway I did was just being self-reflective and seeing that privilege, whether we have it or not. Thank you. Jamisha, you're going to take this final question and the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm very glad to answer this question, and similarly to Eddie, and I think, all 4 of the student panelists, we are all belong to minority groups. So inclusivity is incredibly important for us. And for me, I've had a countable number of instances where an instructor has presented material that addresses inclusivity and equity. In 2019 spring, I was assigned a handful of short stories to read in my English 101 class that followed events caused by inequity. We'd have a story analyzing the treatment of a female mental health patient, a detailing of the events of a forced deadly brawl amongst promising young Black men, or a recount of a Latinx woman trying to escape her abusive husband to the States. In this class, I was also a part of a team that presented a cause and effect essay about colorism that ended up educating a number of my peers on its very existence. This was a lasting moment for me, as one of my group members, the only white student in the group, really took a moment to understand the ways in which she was privileged after having been more in denial prior to the assignment. Through the construction of our essay, entailing many group discussions, we were able to bring clarity to a previously abstract concept. That growth happened thanks to an assignment and because it was hosted in an environment that encouraged uncomfortable yet respectful dialogue. Now, as an Umoja student and student assistant for the program, I'm exposed to the efforts in pursuit of social justice and given a space to share experiences as a Black woman with other BIPOC or Black, Indigenous, and people of color and ally students in the program. We have monthly porch talks to discuss current events and the college experience and celebrate the Black community. We have a village that actively works towards the success and well-being of their students and is undoubtedly invested in achieving social equity. I feel much more seen, and because of Umoja's presence on our campus, much more safe. I also get the privilege to work alongside some wonderfully inspiring women as Umoja student assistant. My success seems even less of a hypothetical because I'm granted frontline representation of my potential as a Black woman. I mean, that and my VP is a Black woman. An easier, more immediate area of improvement lies in non-BIPOC faculty's efforts to properly pronounce culturally influenced names. For many years, I opted to go by a more universal nickname, Mimi, to avoid being misnamed and having to correct an indifferent party. When I first enrolled at Pierce, I was still using Mimi in all of my classes, but as I gained a stronger sense of self, partial thanks to being an Umoja student, I began seeing the power in my name. I began questioning, what made Jamisha any more difficult than Lichtenstein or Schneider? Shortly after this development, I knew I wanted to be referred to by my real name in my academic and personal life. This past summer was the first semester I didn't introduce myself as Mimi to all of my professors. All went pretty swimmingly. Of course, there was a learning curve with my non-BIPOC lab professor, but she eventually got it. What was most important to me was that she cared enough to try and say it correctly and was patient and enthusiastic when corrected. This fall, after giving the pronunciation of my name to one of my professors, he let out a worried sigh and told me he'd messed up my name all semester. This caused me to shrink back into my Mimi box for a one-size-fits-all solution to end this moment of discomfort and attempt to salvage this first impression. I think at times, faculty members take for granted the feeling of confirmation accompanied by being rightfully referenced, and even more so if they possess a more commonly used name. In making it a personal mission to properly pronounce BIPOC students' names, faculty positively impact their students much more than they think. Thank you all again for listening and for your time today.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Jamisha. I want to first start off by thanking all of our presenters, not only me, but the faculty. So Rachel, Oscar, Jamisha, Eddie, we appreciate you stepping up and giving us insight. And to my colleagues, I've worked with these students for the past month, and one of our last meetings, I sat there and I listened because they got into this discussion just about equity and inclusiveness. And I just sat there and I listened, and I say, listen, I took in what they were talking about, and the perspectives that they discussed and their the reflections that they presented was priceless. There's no words that we can say to put those and to express our gratitude for what you all do. So thank you all. And with that being said, I'm going to thank you, and we're going to move on to our next portion. We hope, again, to talk to you all soon, and we'll be addressing any questions that the faculty and staff had to you all, and then we'll have those readily available for our staff and faculty when you answer those. Without further ado, the Student Success Conference is going to continue, ladies and gentlemen. Up next is the Students Resource Fair. Again, as Batman said, feel free to jump in to a 15-minute presentation. There'll be 2 programs. After you're done with that first 15 minutes, you'll go to the second one. And then after the second one, you'll go to a third one. And then if you have any questions at all, and this is to everyone, hop back into our room, and Batgirl, any one of our heroes, will be there to answer them. Thank you very much, and thank you, students, for being here.
Thank you all so much. Just really inspiring and really wonderful. That's fantastic. Thank you. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a 10-minute break now. When you're taking that 10-minute break, just keep in mind that in 10 minutes, the Student Success Fair will start. Again, the key to finding all of the different rooms in the Student Success Fair are all going to be on that Google site. So I'm putting the Google site back into the chat over and over again. If you get lost, or if you're not sure where to go or not sure what to do or how it works, we're here all day long. We love questions. Bring your questions. And also, just as a reminder, in the Student Success Fair, it'll be 3 15-minute chunks. So the first 15-minute session will start right at 10 a.m., 10 to 10:15. The second session, 10:15 to 10:30. And then the third session, 10:30 to 10:45. You can go to 1, 2, or all 3 of those sessions. You can learn about 2 programs, 4 programs, or 6 programs. So let us know, please, if you have questions. And thank you all so much for being here. It just really makes my heart very happy to know that we're a part of such an amazing community that includes wonderful superhero students and wonderful superhero educators as well. I'll see you all soon. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. I will stay here. Batgirl will stay here. Batman will stay here. And I believe Wonder Woman is also staying here. So if you want to take a break, go. If you have questions, you can hang around. And just one more point. Lots of people put questions for our panelists in the chat. Thank you. I'm copying and pasting those questions into a document, and our students will have an opportunity to answer those questions, and then we can post those questions on the Google site once we've completed that process. So thanks, everybody. See ya. All right. So does anybody have any questions? You can raise your hand.
I was just going to quickly say a comment to our student panelists. Thank you, all of you, very much for doing what you did. You guys rocked it. Honestly, rocked it. So feel free to do whatever you want. Go enjoy your day. Crystal, I think can they hang out if they wanted to? Yeah, hang out if you want to, and we'll be in and out of meetings. And then just go to that link that I sent to you, and you can sort of fly around what we're doing today. Thank you all very much. Crystal, thank you for having us. We appreciate you, Lisa, and the whole committee.
Thank you, Yepram, also for amazing moderation for the panel. And thank you to the student panelists. You guys are beyond amazing. I'm sitting here tearing up, and you know I don't cry easy. So I appreciate you all.
We need your voices. They're amazing. They need to be heard. You say it better than we can. Thank you.
Thank you all.
So just a quick question, Crystal. Maria is asking if she should hang out or go to anything. I let her know that if she wanted to visit a resource, a student success, visit the fair, just let one of the interpreters know so they can go with her, or let them know her schedule for the day so they can know what workshop she's going to be in. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, we have we were sent a schedule for the interpreters.
Okay.
And what we were told was that the Student Success Fair presentations, the interpreters are going to Center for Academic Success and Library from 10 to 10:15. And then that they'll be in DSPS and Student Health Center from 10:15 to 10:30.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then for the breakouts, just to be explicit, there will be interpreters in Making Canvas Fun for session 1, that's 10:50 to 11:55. And then Liquid Syllabus, a student-centered approach. And then for breakout session number 2, our interpreters will be in Accessible Canvas Design. And they will also be in Don't Teach Sync or Async, Teach Good and Effective Classes.
Okay.
And then, of course, at the end of the day, they will be in the Modern Languages Department meeting from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Okay, so if she happens to change her schedule, hopefully she'll just come back here and we'll just redirect.
We'll be here all day. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll see if I can post this in the chat too. We'll see how that works.
Are these panels going to be recorded so that we can, because I want to go to all of them. You always do that.
Absolutely. Most will be recorded. QPR is not recorded just because of the nature of that material. Everything else should be recorded. So, and we'll post all of the videos on that Google site. And when I say we, I mean Brian Moe will post all of those videos on the Google site.
Actually, all the videos will live in the Vision Resource Center.
Oh, okay.
That way you get flex credit for watching them and catching up on them. They'll be in a playlist. We'll send it out probably within like 2 weeks once we get everything back, and they will be captioned, yes. Because everything that gets zoomed will be closed captioned, and we're just going to tweak it and upload it. So just be patient with us. Give us
our mind,
a couple
can we
weeks.
go to a different one?
I'm sorry?
If we change our mind, can we, if we registered for something else, can we just go to a different one, or it's too late?
Yes, you can, because we are getting the attendance, so I'll be able to switch it on the back end. I hope everyone doesn't do that.
I don't know. I just.
But Denise, it is possible to unregister and then re-register beforehand.
Okay, all right. I'm just I can't, too much candy.
I got to go join my buddies over in the CalWorks Child Development Center. So
I'm here. Thanks, Batman.
Thank you.
Mark, I see that you have a question. Go ahead.
I just wanted to remind you, Crystal, that the Vision Resource Center is sending out lots of reminder emails if you registered for the programs, and every one of them has the helpful Google link.
Beautiful.
And so I'm getting, hey, in 1 hour, you registered for Making Canvas Fun, and there's the link to get into the Google site. So
That's wonderful.
just
Okay.
one more place for everybody to find the Google link.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mark. And I also love your COVID hair. It's looking good.
I'm looking for Rockstar.
Yeah.
My older students say, hey, it's the 60s again.
That's right. Well, I'm hoping that 2021 is the year of the man bun. So help us out.
I'm just hoping that haircuts are back in vogue by June. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Karen. Oh, okay. Karen, if you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Sorry, yeah, no, I figured it out. I had the wrong link, but now I found it. For
Yay.
Zoom.
All right, good.
Bye.
If anybody else has a question or needs a link or doesn't know where to go, let me know. All
We
right.
have 3 more minutes before the session starts. So I just want to encourage everyone to make their way to the session that they're going to attend for the fair, and the Google site link is in the chat.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. Thanks everybody for being recorded. There we go. And then I'm going to unstream us on YouTube. It's exciting. We're all famous now.